Hello everybody, welcome along for your EFL Championship round 25 hot takes, which are Sunderland, the big winners in the promotion race. Middlesbrough aren't flaky anymore. Norwich are back. Sheffield Wednesday and QPR are doing what we expected them to do all along. And Gary Rowett, the biggest new manager bounce in Championship history. We'll get to all of that. I have finally succumbed to the winter British lurgy that my missus and daughter seem to have had for about 4 weeks. But yeah, I know I sound terrible. I know I look terrible. We get in there. I'm going to power on through. You don't need to tell me in the comments. What you do need to tell me is whether you agree. Well, I think it's quite a cold take, actually, that Sunderland were the biggest winners in the promotion race yesterday because they were the only winners. And it's really ebbing and flowing nicely. I do these hot takes videos, and recently we've had all 4 of the top 4 winning. I think we've had just Sheffield United winning. I think we've had just Leeds winning. I think we've had just Sunderland winning. Well, we've certainly had just Sunderland winning because that's what we are covering today. Let's just have a look ahead of the Black Cats, and we do have a new top 2. Leeds are at the top of the pile. They went 1-1 with Blackburn. Very annoyingly, if you watch the predictions video, I talked myself out of this 1-1 draw because John Eustace just seems to have something over Daniel Farke. But I thought Leeds are in such great form at the moment. They'll get the job done. Look, I haven't listened to Daniel Farke's post-match, but I bet I can tell you what he said. I bet he was saying, look, you're not going to win every game. Big picture, we're in great form, not losing games, etc., etc. And if he did say that, I would agree with all of that because that is my thoughts entirely. I think frustrating in the short term for Leeds in terms of a home game and obviously taking the lead in the 88th minute and then being pegged back. You think if you take the lead in minute 88 that you should go on and win the game. I get that in the very short term context, but I think if you can take a step back from that immediate frustration, if you are a Leeds fan, and say, big picture, every single pattern you're looking at now reads extremely well for Leeds United. 52 points up from 25 games. Well over the 2 points per game. 3 points clear now at the top of the table, given Sheffield United's recent struggles. And play the long game. It's a 46-game season, and all the trends are pointing towards Leeds being the best team in the division, despite not getting over the line after taking the lead in the 88th minute yesterday. We've spoken plenty about Leeds in recent weeks. So let's move on to Burnley, who snuck into second place on goal difference with another 0-0 draw. I think I'm right. Is that 6 0-0 draws this season for Burnley? They won't care if they get promoted. Do you remember that Pulis Stoke side? They drew loads ago. They must have had... Someone look that up. Who's had the most 0-0 draws and got promoted? Or who's had the most 0-0 draws period in the Championship? West Brom might run them close this season. But anyway, 16th clean sheet for Stoke, for Burnley against Stoke. James Trafford in goal has been a star there. 1 defeat in 22 games. It's the durability of Burnley that's absolutely fantastic in keeping them up there. They're not quite at the 2 points per game, but as I said, the goal difference moves them ahead of Sheffield United, who have slipped up in the past 3 games. Let me know in the chat. We have a new top 2. Is this your top 2? I don't know. You tell me. It's ebbing and flowing in the promotion race, as we have alluded to. Forgive me. Let me just take a drink, take on my fluids and fight off this bug. And Sunderland fought off Sheffield United yesterday. Let's look at it from a Sheffield United point of view first. They dropped out of the top 2. 1 point in 3 games, but you would be calling out a lot of mitigating factors. I feel a bit sorry for Chris Wilder, actually, because yesterday they missed a penalty and there were clear mistakes from Robinson, and it was Peck gave the ball away for the second goal. So, yes, Sunderland very good on the counter. We'll talk about Sunderland in a second. They're the big stars of the promotion race this round. But if Sheffield United, you had loads of injured players. Souttar's like out for the season. I think Ahmedhodzic had a run out recently, didn't he? R Blaster is out for the season. Campbell is out. He was playing well. Raksaki's out. Look, there's loads of them. It is what it is. They've got 1 point from the last 3 games. They've also had a difficult run of games. They played West Brom, didn't they? Who else did they lose to? Sheffield United. Yeah, Burnley, West Brom and Sunderland. We knew it was going to be a tough run, and it has coincided with a bit of squad depletion. So I get it. I can see why you would think, there might be a bit of a bounce back coming. And they did that really well, didn't they, Sheffield United? They lost at Leeds and Middlesbrough and then went on a superb run. But out of the top two, you tell me, temporarily or not, if players are coming back. I think they go to Watford next. And Watford have got a great home record. They just need to get to FA Cup third round weekend, get some players back. Maybe these new owners can bring some in to help out Chris Wilder. But let's give Sunderland the credit, because Sunderland are keeping this as a 4-horse race. And it's difficult, isn't it? You got 3 parachute payment teams to go against. And Sunderland, I think, let me know if I'm damning with faint praise here, Sunderland fans. Just keep in touch. Just take it to Easter and still have it as a 4-horse race. Even if, as, perhaps might be the case, maybe first place might be gone by Easter. But if you're still in the fight for automatic promotion, I think that is a superb job by Regis Lebris and the Sunderland squad against powerful sides, all been in the Premier League in the past sort of few seasons and have those great squads and that sort of financial bonus that you get once you've come down from the Premier League. Yes, I know people will talk about players sold, but yeah, make the comparison against the people who don't have it and don't talk about the people who do have it, and you'll have a bit of a different view of the financial disparities and cliff edges in the Championship. I've said enough. I've said too much. But yeah, Sunderland, we were looking for them not to go behind. I think they'd gone behind like 6 games in a row or something stupid. They could have gone behind with the penalty missed by Kiefer Moore. Patterson, not great penalty, was it? Got his foot to that one. Excuse me, the struggle is real, ladies and gentlemen. And then, on the counter-attack, 2 quick goals, yes. Mistakes and Isidore. And who got the other one? Mayenda, Luke O'Neill with an own goal. There's 3 goals in 8 minutes in this one. Chris Wilder said it in his post-match that the game at Bramall Lane felt very, very tight, and Sunderland will have come away thinking, should have got something from that one. Maybe Sheffield United are going to come away from this one thinking, we should have got something. But that's not the story, and that's the way it goes. So look, 47 for Sunderland, 49 Sheffield United, 49 Burnley. Leeds have got that little 3-point cushion up at the top. It is a 4-horse race, and Sunderland are doing a great job keeping up. And 14 points in the last 7 games. They had that run of drawing loads, Sunderland. They are now back into promotion form. And I say this every time we get a good stat. 14 points in the next 7 games would take Sunderland to 61 from 32. And you're starting to think there's a real chance of getting this done. They've got to keep up the intensity and get where they were in those first couple of months of the season, where they were outstanding. So, hot take, is it a cold one? It's probably a cold one. Sunderland, the big winners in the promotion race, and it still looks like a 4-horse race. Get your views in the comments on the top 4. Right, we've got some winners here to talk about. Middlesbrough, West Brom and Sheffield Wednesday. Middlesbrough in 5th, West Brom in 6th. So the 3 teams in the top 6 winning a 4th, 5th and 6th, strangely this time. Middlesbrough, absolute scenes when that goal went in late on at Hull. And, we have Middlesbrough pegged as this flaky team who looks really pretty on the eye and makes loads of chances and doesn't win games late on away at Hull when the chips are down with a late goal, and they managed to do it. I did love the scenes in the dugout there. The staff really pleased, obviously thinking they'd done enough to win the game. And when that late one, when it was a Gilbert, put it in. A great win for Middlesbrough. First 13 of the season, they were 10th. Last 12, they are the 4th best team in the division. Look, there's a big gap. We're not talking about them joining the automatic race. But I think the focus has got to be very, very clear for Middlesbrough. We have got 21 games to go left for Borough. They've got 40 points. We just need like 75 or, should get you in the playoffs, shouldn't it? They just got to knock out those points and be in good form for the playoffs, because it would take a hell of a run to get back in. They've never really been in the automatic race this season, but they are what they are. Middlesbrough, they look like a playoff team at best, but can they go in there and win the playoffs? Let's see if they can keep up this good form. of late. West Bromley, it's just all about the new boss now. Big links to Luke Williams. There was too many L's and W's in that, wasn't there? The Swansea manager coming in to replace Carlos Corberan. I hadn't realised the disparity between home and away for West Brom is massive. I think it's something like one defeat all season perhaps at home. Check me out on that one. And one win in 10 away from home. So they need a new manager and they need to, either be better away or just even that out so it's not such a ridiculous disparity in terms of points accumulated. Josh Madger, 2 goals. Just before the transfer window opens as well, he's up to 12 for the season. West Brom, though, need a new manager very quickly. Sheffield Wednesday, we'll talk about Josh Windass and that incredible goal in just a second. If you covered up the scoreline and look just at the stats of this is all about finishing. Sheffield Wednesday 4, Derby 2. You'd think it was going to be Derby winning the game 4-2 given the chances, but you've got to play the penalty boxes, and Sheffield Wednesday clearly did that better than the Rams. Well, they say play the penalty box. Josh Windass scored from inside his own. Was it inside his own half? He was miles out wherever he was. I haven't taken the time to pause it. He must have been inside his own half. I've only watched it a few times, but brilliant goal. Lobbing Zetterstrom from miles and miles out. Last 14 games, Sheffield Wednesday are the 4th best team in the league. And we're going to talk about QPR in a minute. We all had Sheffield Wednesday and QPR after the end of last season in the top half, in the top 10. They both seem to be heading that way. Wednesday 9th, 3 points off the playoffs. They can knock out 4th place form for the next 14. Exactly what I said about Middlesbrough. They'll sure close that gap. And is there a bit of a trend down for Blackburn and Watford ahead of them? Can they snip ahead of them? Can they snip ahead of Middlesbrough and Watford, who are solid Championship teams? That might be a bit trickier, but good win. Sheffield Wednesday 4, Derby 2, and they are moving nicely. A bit erratic sometimes, Sheffield Wednesday, with the results, but in the main, Danny Roll wins in the Championship, and they're kind of a top half, top 10 side. Someone do the maths for me. Since Danny Roll took over, give me the points per game for Sheffield Wednesday, but it's pretty good, actually, isn't it? Let's move on to our last screen of winners here. Are Norwich back? What does it say on my pad? It says 2 wins in 13 prior to the last 3 games, and they've got 2 wins in 3 now. I suppose we can look back and say, was Saints carrying them? Did they have the best player in the league through early autumn carrying them and helping for the results? I know they were a bit depleted as well with injuries, and they've gone to Luton and won 1-0 yesterday. That's a really good result because Luton have been very decent at home. Luton have been terrible away from home, but still a hard place to go and win, Kenilworth Road, and Norwich managed to get the job done. Can they get a steady run here? I know there's going to be people linked with Saints through January because he's been so brilliant. I think Barnes is now back. If they can get Sargent back in as well and keep a clean bill of health, I think if everything's online for Norwich and they're playing well and things are going for them in terms of squad availability, they can go on a good run. They are 6 points off the playoffs, and we know Norwich in the Championship, the expectation is never far from promotion. Can they get a good run going again? QPR, we mentioned as well in the same breath as Sheffield Wednesday. QPR are 15th, bit spotty at the moment, but 10-game form table, they are the 3rd best team in the league. So if QPR fans can be patient, it might be 1 defeat in 10, sort of 5 wins, 4 draws, something of that nature. So they get you 19 points. Yeah, 5 wins, 4 draws, 1 defeat in the last 10 for Rangers. They beat Watford 3-1. Watford have been very good this season, albeit better at the Vic than away from home. QPR getting the job done. And yeah, I think that is a hot take of mine. Will you tell me if it's hot or cold? The predictions everyone had for Sheffield Wednesday and QPR in their 1-24s that looked silly a couple of months ago, I don't think they're going to be silly. I think they are both going to be in the top half, and Cifuentes and Roll are decent managers, and that's where this is all going to be trending, and that's where it looks like it's trending at the moment. Where the hell are Oxford United trending? Again, I said this on the last video after back-to-back wins. It's now 3 wins out of 3 for Gary Rowett, and if someone sat down and said, all we need is a little splurge, a little 4 wins in 6, and that's gonna be enough to make this a winnable task of staying in the division. Well, in comes Gary Rowett. That is 3 wins from 3. This is the best of all of them, isn't it? Because he's gone away to Millwall, his former club, clean sheet, a victory. That is Oxford United's first away win of the season. If you haven't followed the channel or the Championship, I'll tell you, my magic number is always 1 point per game. If you're projecting towards 46 points across a Championship season, in most seasons, yes, I know you can point to last season where Birmingham went down with 50. You can point to the one where, who was it? Charlton, 49. The first COVID season. But generally, be above that point per game in a 24-team, 46-game league, and you're looking good. And Oxford have banged 9 points on. They are at 27 points from 24 games. They are 18th in the table. And you don't have to be amazing to avoid relegation. You just have to be not one of the worst 3 teams in the league. And sometimes all it takes, I think that season Charlton did go down. They won 4 out of the first 6 games in the season. And that kept them away from the bottom 3 literally until the last few games. So sometimes it just needs that little blob of wins. And when we look back, are we going to be saying the key point of this season was those 3 wins in a row when Gary Rowett first arrived? Obviously, he's got a job to do, but he's set himself up, as in a job to do, for the remaining 22 games of this season. But he's set himself up massively well if he can be close to a point per game now. Well, look, if he is a point per game for the rest of the season, Oxford end on 49 points. And here's a hot take, they won't go down with 49 points. Not this season. I just don't see the total being that high. Could be wrong. I've been wrong before. All you people who tell me, don't look at the middle of the table, Ben, for the last 16 games. Look at the bottom, because their points per game will trend up as people fight and claw to stay up. Well, Oxford give themselves a head start. Portsmouth, excuse me, I'm going to need another drink. Portsmouth are also outside the bottom 3. And this is a madness now, isn't it? In the last sort of 5 or 6 games, Portsmouth have lost away from home 4-0 and 3-0 at Derby and Bristol City. And they've won at home 4-1 against Coventry and now 4-0 against Swansea. I'm sure the conspiracy theorists are going to say, Luke Williams, he's been linked with the West Brom job, which means Swansea weren't focused and he wasn't focused. And that takes all of the credit away from Pompey, who had a great win. And let's talk about simple non-negotiables for teams that are going to do anything in any division. You need your attacking players to deliver. Murphy, Bishop both scored yesterday. And I think with add Lang into that picture as well, I think they've got good players at the top end, Pompey. Murphy's kind of got going in the last couple of months. Bishop obviously had the big issues. Lang has been good all season, hasn't he? If they can all play well, or reasonably well, or be par for most of the games, Pompey have got a chance at the top end. They're scoring from set plays and they're winning home games. So that is all looking good for Portsmouth. And we said the start of the season was absolutely horrible in terms of the fixtures. Since then, they've not looked like a relegation team. They've just got to churn that out now through to the end of the season. There is a bit of a sense, though, for teams above the bottom 3 that you think Hull are going to push up and out of it in terms of squad quality there, and they've made the managerial change and there's going to be a trend up. So Cardiff and Plymouth look like they're in big trouble. They're the bottom 2. I still think there's going to be movement around there, and the likes of Portsmouth and Oxford, yes, they're not in the bottom 3, but ex-League One teams here, keep it up. There you go. We got to the end of the video. Those are your latest hot takes for Championship round 25. Sunderland, do you agree? Keeping the conversation going still in the automatic promotion race. Are Middlesbrough showing signs? They're not flaky anymore. Can we park that from earlier in the season, portions of last season? Will Luke Williams be the next West Brom manager? Are Norwich back? Can we get a 10-game run for Norwich of 18 points and they're going to be in the conversation? QPR and Sheffield Wednesday heading for the top half. Are Oxford going to survive based on this run right now? Get your views in the comments. I'm going to stop talking now and try and preserve my voice for some predictions with Sam Parkin that we'll try and film over the next 24 hours and get out for you tomorrow. Thank you everybody for watching. Happy bloody New Year. Get well soon if you got this gross, disgusting lurgy, and get your hot takes in the comments.